Have you ever wondered how to approach a publisher, or maybe just felt nervous about reaching out? Well, my friend, this episode is for you. Today, I am joined by Corey Caplan, Director of Business Development and Partnerships at tinyBuild. You know, that small little publisher and development studio behind absolute bangers like Hello Neighbor, Streets of Rogue, and the highly anticipated Kingmakers. Also, side note, if you have not seen the trailer for Kingmakers after this episode, go check it out. It is bonkers. But alas, he is here today to break down 4 essential things that every indie dev should know before pitching to a publisher. Number 1, what you should include in your pitch deck, and also what you should leave out. Number 2, how to make your game stand out in an inbox packed with submissions. 3, why shipping a game, even if it was a quote-unquote failure, matters more than you would even think in the eyes of a publisher. And 4, how to build a lasting relationship that goes far beyond just one title. So let's level you up and get you partnered with the publishers of your dreams. Welcome to Freaking Cool Indies. Welcome to the show, Corey. I really appreciate you taking time today to have for jumping on, joining Freaking Cool Indies and talking about everything that comes down with publishing. So you are currently the Director of Business Dev and Partner Licensing. So obviously a very awesome title, and congratulations on that.
Direct
But
hit.
what does that mean in layman's terms? Like what do you do? What's your
Should
day to day consist of?
deconstruct each word of the title since it's so long? Business. I do business. No. Effectively, my job involves primarily working on the licensing side of things. So licensing in and out, licensing out of tinyBuild's IP to create merchandising or work on the TV film side, effectively looking at our owned IP and, maximizing its value as best we possibly can here. On the business development side, anything that involves where they need me, platform negotiation with game deals, looking at doing crossover deals with other publishers and developers. So, it really is a business development role in that, it touches a lot of, the kind of day-to-day business development needs of the company, with a special focus on the licensing side of things.
Very cool. So you're the one who's kind of like, hey, we have Hello Neighbor. Let's not just make a sequel to it, but let's make spin-offs or add it into a different IP, or maybe have another IP join the Hello Neighbor, ecosystem, if you will.
Yeah, anything that needs to be done on that front certainly falls into my remit. That comes down from the Hello Neighbor team here at tinyBuild. We have a number of distinct teams that work on portfolios of projects. So I get a lot of my marching orders in terms of like what they want to do and how they expand. They want to expand their games from them. So I rely on my super talented colleagues to kind of like set the pace and tone for how they want to see things and how they want to see their relationships and partnerships grow.
And now tinyBuild as just like as a company, I should say, obviously every publisher is a little bit different, but what's tinyBuild's deal, if you will? I know that's not a great way of putting it, but what makes tinyBuild special compared to some of the other publishers out there?
One of the things we like to say is we speak the language of development since we develop our own games in-house and we sign
Mm-hmm.
third-party games. Uh, Also, if you look at tinyBuild Connect that we did earlier this month, for example, our own special showcase of games, we've really, moved wholeheartedly into developing and signing games that are systems driven, that are super highly replayable. Our CEO Alex has talked a lot about those 1,000-hour games that we're looking for. And also our brand is pretty unmistakable. The orange hats that people see at markets. So, it's our branding, it's our marketing, it's our identity. We really kind of, set ourselves, I wouldn't say apart, but we really created an identity for ourselves, certainly in the indie game world.
Absolutely. And again, I know they're even just in preparation for this episode, reading a ton on the 1,000 hour game and really kind of shifting into that perspective. But do you still see a world where tinyBuild is building some of the more, smaller, maybe let's call them narrative type of games as well, or is it really full pivot onto, the big kingmakers of the world?
It's an interesting question, but we're focused on games where the narrative is something that kind of happens to the player through their interactions with the systems in the game, right? So, I mean, Kingmakers is a good example in that there is a distinct narrative, but you're moving through the game really, in whichever kind of like variation you want, thousands of different ways you want, because it's that amazing blend of RTS and third person action. Streets of Rogue 2, which is coming out as well. Very similarly, you can look at Sand, you can look at All Will Fall, all these games where that are incredibly systems driven, and you're creating what happens to you. You're creating the city that might just kind of like self-destruct on itself, and all will fall. You're banding together with your friends on a trampler, and trying to extract as best you can in the world of Sand. And what happens to you along the way is the story that you tell about what happens to you in the game, right? Again, with Kingmakers, there is a story, but really the story that players will tell is what happened to them in game. So that's where we're focused in terms of narrative. But there's always a narrative structure to these games. There's always a world. World building is incredibly important to us. You can see what we've done with the Hello Neighbor franchise, and what we're continuing to do, certainly with Hello Neighbor 3. And I would recommend that everyone take a look at Nikita, the director of the game, his devlogs, and which are so beautiful and poignant and interesting and hilarious, and play the prototypes that are on Steam as well, to get a really good sense of how we're building, a systems-driven game within this larger, very distinct world that has its own story.
Is there any kind of big misconceptions when you are speaking with developers about, what do publishers do, or maybe what does tinyBuild do that they think it is that you do compared to what maybe the reality is?
I mean, it's an interesting question. Like, I don't find that devs have misconceptions or kind of like different or opposing ideas as to like what we do. Um, I think that um, what is more interesting in terms of like ideas to align on, right, is perhaps like, oh, how can I find out what kind of games that tinyBuild wants to sign, right? And and I love telling people, like, yeah, you can check out our website, you can check out the talks that Alex has done, you can check out the games that we're developing. I think that to get a good sense of like what we are and who we are, like, check out our YouTube channel, check out our socials. Like, we talk a lot about the games that we are developing, and you can see patterns in the games that we're developing. If you like look at, again, Sand and All Will Fall, Drill Core, Kingmakers, Hello Neighbor 3, I can go on and on and on, right? Like our approach to you know filling our and our portfolio, developing games that are hugely replayable, right? It's right there. The proof is in the pudding. So, I mean, that's what I would say to devs that want to kind of better understand tinyBuild. The other questions with regards to how we work and our publishing terms and what have you, that's not public, but they can always just kind of ask us those questions. And I think that it's more of like maybe misconceptions with like what a publisher might do on as a whole, but that's a separate topic.
Absolutely. And again, I will say just on the website itself, like very front and center of like if you want to pitch to us, like here's how you should pitch, here's what we are looking for. Like I think you guys do a great job on the transparency aspect of it. And you're not there just trying to take anything that comes in. You have a very clear vision of what it is that you guys want. And once again, I think it's awesome to have that open honest transparency. All right, Corey.
Cool.
So let's jump into the actual pitches themselves. And I
Mm.
know you host an amazing podcast yourself all around pitches, and people can go in and watch how other people pitch, and you guys give really good feedback about what you like, what you don't like, what you would like to see. Where I want to start with is the email itself. So that's the first thing that you're going to be getting, right? And I'm guessing one side of the equation is you are going out and you're actively looking for devs, but then the other side of it is you are getting inbound leads and inbound people messaging you with,
Hmm.
hey, kind of check out my game. I
Hmm.
think it meets
Hmm.
all the tinyBuild criteria. So when you do get an email, what is it that you're looking for, and something that our listeners can kind of tangibly start to include within their email when they are reaching out to publishers?
With the initial email, it's interesting because we have our general pitches mailbox, and we get a ton of pitches into that mailbox. And sometimes we find things that we like in there, but we get so many kind of general pitches. I guess to start there, um, we're looking for the email to very quickly tell us, what kind of game it is, right? You can put that right in the subject header, right? Like super cool alien guns, a game where you can like make the biggest, baddest alien guns on your own, right? And there's something catchy and interesting and boundary pushing, yet still speaks to what tinyBuild is looking for in terms of games that we want to sign, right? That fits our portfolio strategy. I think that will catch our eye. We love when we see GIFs that are in the body of the email that speak to some gameplay or interesting moment that happens in the game, some of the aesthetics of the game. That always helps to grab our eye, and make it kind of short and sweet and pithy. Make the actual email itself like pithy to the point, and make sure that to include a pitch deck, uh, at the very least some gameplay video. Obviously we love when a build is attached as well. If we like something that we see, we just kind of automatically add it to our list of games to check out, and we start talking about it internally. um, but I mean, keep it pithy as well. And a little secret kind of, you know, suggestion, and we've talked about this on the podcast a few times. Ask for a call with us. I'd love to get you guys on a call. Does this work for you? Like, be very direct about what you want, right? Um, if you contact someone directly, then make sure that you're kind of stick handling it and making sure that you're thinking about all the pitches that we get and how to stand out and how to kind of capture our time, right? You get so many pitches, we don't want to miss anything that's amazing that fits us, right? So it's always good to get us on a call, right? Even to say like I just like be honest about it. I just have a deck, right? And I want to know what you guys think because I think this game could fit your portfolio, right? That will make anyone interested here, right? So
So
make sure that when you send us a game, that you're effectively saying, I think this is worth your time and let's talk about it, right? And here's like some elements that will make you kind of interested, right? Again, images, gifs, video, anything that will catch us and make us interested to say hello and let's talk.
And what is like the minimum required? Like, does a person need to have prototype level? Is it just like, hey, this is my idea. Here's again concept art, some playable gifs, videos. Is that good enough, or does it need to have at least a Steam page? Like, where are you drawing the line
You
of
don't
like,
need to
hey,
have a
maybe
Steam
this is a
page.
little too early on?
You don't need to have a Steam page. You don't need to have a whole social media apparatus. Um, but I mean, there are levels to it. To consider the game, to actually have us consider the game and make a decision on whether we want to take the publishing conversation forward or not, uh, we need at the very minimum a build of the game, at the very minimum a prototype, right? Depending on the game, we may need to see more of a vertical slice, but that's genre specific and game specific. But to have a conversation, I would say have some imagery, have a deck to show us at the very least, so that we can have a full throated conversation about the game that you want to pitch to us.
And the pitch deck itself, what would be kind of the ideal length that you're looking for, and maybe just some specific pieces of information that would be, more like non-negotiable. This needs to be part of this.
I'll just use a journalism term and I'll say don't bury the lead. Like, make sure your USP, put it in the email, put it in the deck, get to it quickly, right?
Yeah.
Like, give us the meat and potatoes of why we should sign your game quickly. And then you could have as many slides as you want explaining the details and budget and team and your experience and history, right? Like, think about it as, again, journalistically, like as a pyramid, right? Of importance, right? Like, what goes at the top, and like at the bottom you have all the kind of other filler information, right? So think about it as you're pitching anybody anything, right?
Mhm.
um if you've been in sales for a period of time, you know that it's really important to have a hook, right? To kind of get that emotional kind of hook in as quick as possible. That's the elevator pitch, but that's also the USP. um Great IP has a very simple pitch, like 1 to 2 lines, right? Any great movie, TV show, or game, right, is like very easy to describe to people. So, like, make sure that you're kind of getting across that USP as quickly as possible. Like, don't make us find it for you. Otherwise, you don't really know why your game is sellable.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the conversation, but I wanted to take a quick second just to tell you about today's sponsor, me. Well, actually, more specifically, the 7-day marketing foundations challenge that I have put together. So, if you've gotten this far in the podcast, then I know that you are serious about becoming an indiepreneur and building a strong marketing foundation around your game. So, I have a challenge for you. Give me 20 minutes a day for the next 7 days, and I will give you a marketing system that actually works. Each day builds upon the last, and throughout the 7 days, we're going to be doing things like defining your ideal player, crafting a killer pitch, optimizing your Steam page, and building an outreach list, as well as sending some emails with some proven and provided templates. Look, there's no overwhelm, just small daily wins that will compound into real results. So if you want to learn more, check out the link below in the description, and I cannot wait to cheer you on. Besides that, have a great rest of your day, and let's get back to the episode. Could you walk us through the importance of including like market comparison? So, how can a developer effectively provide this type of detail to you?
I think my advice there is to be super realistic. Really think about what chance your game has amidst all the other games in the same genre that are being released on Steam. We want the research to be part and parcel of the pitch, for sure. Um, we want to get a sense of the addressable market. We want to know their take on it. Obviously, we'll do our own research internally as well. But I think my advice to devs is to be realistic. Among the hundreds of thousands now of roguelike deck builders on Steam, why does yours stand out, right?
Yeah.
But also, you know, it's a huge market for that genre, right? How, like, what are the actual kind of year on year realistic sales? And give it to us, in a lot of devs do this. They're really good at it. What's the kind of conservative number? What's the kind of break even number? What's the profit number? And what's like the blue sky number? You don't have to do four different comparisons, but I'm giving you a sense of, okay, we've looked at this, and if we do this, we're all right. If we do this, we're in the black. If we do this, we're doing amazing, right?
Hmm.
We love comparisons like that, but you know, I would say, be very realistic about that, because when you go certainly into the level of like, you know, this many sales, like this game sold X amount of X amount of copies, pardon me, and grossed
Hmm.
X amount of revenue on Steam. Therefore, that's my addressable market. Like, not really, right?
Yeah.
Because you're in competition with all these other games, and your game is not going to be like the game that kind of like broke the mold for the genre,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So I would say be very realistic, but still include that information, and we'd love to get a sense of how they think their game fits in, and where they think they're addressing something that Steam gamers and console gamers would love to see and love to buy.
Hmm. Not just coming in and being like, "Hey, I'm making Balatro 2, and like Balatro did really well,
Mhm.
so you guys should just like
Yeah,
invest in this one,
Balatro
right?"
Balatro to Joker Boogaloo. You know what I mean? Even though we're seeing more Balatro likes out there,
Oh yeah. Oh
um,
yeah.
it's a really creative genre, I will say. Um, we do love looking at them. Um, but as an example, right? Um, Show us something that kind of pushes the boundaries of that genre, right? Like, what does your game do that Balatro doesn't do, that can set it apart, that makes it a marketable product, right? We're selling something here, right? So, like, help us to understand what makes this an interesting, attractive product that tinyBuild is the right partner to market. So I think that all goes into that side of kind of the market, and like the comparisons and the data analysis of your game and other games like it.
And how important is the technical aspect, or maybe the technical details, if you will? So, like, if do you care if a dev is using Godot or Unity? Are you worried about anything like their development pipeline? Is that something that you care about, or is it more so like, hey, we want milestones and like the finished product?
I mean, we care a lot about experience, right?
Hmm.
Have you ever shipped a game using this engine before? Um, are you like, given the game that we're seeing, and you know what features you want to add to the game, what content you want to add to the game? Is it realistic given what the production plan is, given the timeline, given your budget, given your burn rate, given the size of your team, right? Does it all make sense? So I think the technical side of things is all part and parcel of, us assessing, is this project realistic?
When it comes to the ask, how specific should the developer be about their budget, and also what are they looking for? I'm sure you get people who come in and are asking way more than what you kind of are picturing, and then also people come in and they're way off the mark from way low from what you're like, hey, seeing, and from here to the finish line, I think you're going to need more than $10,000 or whatever that looks like.
Yeah, sure. I mean, production plan, a budget, a detailed budget is always helpful for us to understand if the numbers are realistic, in terms of the funding ask, right? So I think, you know, that's one way to mitigate having a kind of like awkward conversation on that front. Ultimately, we want to know, your funding ask and your budget that would get your game to market, right? And it's not just early access,
Hmm.
right? Because we don't want to make promises that we can't keep to folks that buy our products, to gamers, right?
Hmm.
Um, we want to make sure that we release your game into 1.0, so give us the full project budget, right? A lot of developers will give us just the budget to get to EA. We kind of need the full scope.
Hmm.
um Again, it works on both of our behalves, because we don't want to run into a situation where we haven't budgeted for something, and that relationship gets sticky between developer and publisher. We want everything to be kind of laid out at the forefront, so we
Yeah.
know what kind of partnership we're getting into, and we're all on the same page moving forward. So it's important again to have that full throated look at what you're gonna need to bring your
Mhm.
game to market.
Are you also looking at the individual? And I think a big part of it, okay, maybe it's how many games they've shipped, or what does their past portfolio look like? How much of that impacts your decision to move forward with someone as opposed to to just looking at the game itself?
Experience matters for sure. We like if you've shipped a game, regardless of what happened to it, that's a miracle, right?
Awesome.
And we
Hmm.
want to respect that. So like tell us everything you've done. It's
Hmm.
really helpful. You don't have to hide it. Again, if you shipped the game, we're impressed.
Yeah.
And if you're a solo dev, it's your first time. Sometimes the proof is in the pudding. You send us a prototype, and the prototype is like we can't stop playing it, right? That's happened a number of times. So
Hmm.
since I've been at tinyBuild, so um, sometimes we can see that the technical aspects of what you're building are all there, and with our help we can get the game to a point where it can be something incredible. So it's all dependent on you know what your ambition is for the game, what you're pitching, and does your build reflect what is in your deck, right? And your ambition for the game. So I think all of it is important, right?
Hmm.
So be honest with us, and please don't shy away from telling us what your experience is, even if you have no experience.
And I think it also just goes to the testament of, as a solo dev or an indie dev, let's just call it, it's like shipping is important even if it goes nowhere, right? But it's
Yes.
the experience, it's the repetition, yeah, it's getting it in, hitting submit, and I think even if it doesn't work your first time or second time or third time, it's being able to talk to
Yeah.
that is a huge win
What
in the long term of it all.
What's great is when devs say we learned so much from our first game.
Yeah.
We took in all the feedback from our players, and we designed a game that does X, Y, and Z, right? Maybe in this genre that we're so good at. So those lessons are awesome,
Hmm.
and it also speaks to your level of, partnership, your willingness to learn and grow and to I guess be like more ambitious and push your experience forward, um, to creating games that continue to iterate on what you've learned in the past. So that's all good stuff.
And any other qualities that you would be looking for from an individual or a team that, really helps you sleep at night, if you will, that, gives you that strong signal of a reliable partner?
I think reliable partners in the dev and publisher relationship are ones like in any other creative field, right? Where you're open and flexible, um, and good listener, and um, you know, you are willing to be, you know, I guess like I was thinking about the word open or humbled, right?
Hmm.
You're open to creativity, right?
Yeah.
And we have these visions in our head, and that's amazing. We have to stick to our visions, right? But let's create that vision together. I think that's usually when the best games happen, and we have so many great relationships with developers, and it's because we want to let them cook. We want to
Yeah.
let you guys cook and do your thing, right? But let's
Yeah.
work on this thing together. Let's work on the marketing beats together. Let's work on these features together. Like, here's our input on this. Here's our input on that. Here's what we think we can do uh, on this side of the marketing side, that side, right? So, without getting specific, I know that's very general, but effectively, we're looking for folks that work well with our production team. I think that's crucially important.
That's really interesting. So you guys have someone on your side that will go and, you're very much a part of the developer's process. Like, is it on a day to day? Is it, they're just doing regular check-ins? What does it look like, if you can disclose, what does the producer and developer relationship look like once someone is signed?
It's a very close knit relationship. Absolutely. We want to work with our developers on all fronts when it comes to their game. So, um, I don't need to disclose like some of the like the nitty gritty details, other than like again, we speak the language of development, but also we're expert marketers. So we want to work with the devs on all fronts. So it's a very tight, close knit relationship.
Yeah. And when you are looking to potentially sign someone, are you talking about, what's the studio's long-term vision, or does that play even a factor into signing a single game deal, or are we just looking like, hey, let's focus on slice number one before we're trying to figure out what the rest of the pizza's looking like?
In terms of the devs' long term vision, that's always great. Their kind of big picture vision for their IP is always amazing. At
Mhm.
tinyBuild, we're focused on growing out franchises, so it's a plus, absolutely. But we're gameplay first, ultimately, and it's all about the game. And even if you don't have a long term vision for your IP and your franchise, we want to we want to know first and foremost that you have a vision for this game, and
Mhm.
you're passionate about making this game the best it can possibly be, and you're focused on the moment to moment player experience. Like that's the most important thing to us.
And then from kind of just more of like a business acumen perspective, if I was a developer, I've sent out a pitch to tinyBuild or other publishers and I haven't heard back. Are you encouraging to follow up? Is it like, what
Absolutely.
does what yeah, what does that look like? Or how would you kind of coach a developer when it comes to trying to get in front of someone and, they're just not getting the responses that they're ideally looking for?
It's just like anything else in sales. Like the most persistent people are the ones who win. Persistence pays off. So be persistent. Don't be afraid to follow up. Uh, you know, we get so many pitches, and if we miss one, we're sorry. Um, to be very Canadian, in that moment, but continue to follow up. Don't hold back. Uh, we're not doing it on purpose. So if we don't get back to you, we don't want to. We want to be in constant touch with people, especially people who think that they have something that fits our portfolio strategy. So um, be persistent is the main um, tip I would have here. And don't be afraid to contact people directly. Doesn't always have to go through the main pitches mailbox, even though that's easy for us. If you know somebody at the publisher, this isn't just tinyBuild. Like at any publisher, if you know someone, contact them. See who can help you. Be persistent.
Any other kind of final advice wrapping up for an indie developer who's looking for a publishing partner that you would give, something that you wish that more people knew, or that you would want to see more often on your side?
I think it goes back to the like it factor or USP, right?
Hmm.
Uh, just come out swinging with your elevator pitch, right? Um, like really, go hard on your hook. Show us that passion right at the gate, right? Um, and blend that USP with why you think it's a good fit for us. And I think um, that's a part of the persistence that I'm talking about, right? Is don't give up on trying to persuade us that your game is a fit for tinyBuild or any publisher. But really, like make sure that like don't be afraid to be passionate about why you think your game is so good and what the USP is. I think that would be my main tip.
Yeah. And I love that we kind of keep coming back to it, because I am a huge advocate of developers practicing and practicing and practicing their pitch and their elevator pitch, and being able to get that point across without having to think about it. I know when I've
Yeah,
gone to some meetups, and you meet develop, hey, tell me about your game. and there's a lot of likes and ums, and you can tell they're trying to figure out the words they're looking for, but it's like I feel like it should be,
They should be able to
that's
answer
something
the
you need to
question, "Why should I
practice.
play your game?" They should be
Yeah.
able to answer, like, "Why should I play your game?" Like, "What's cool about
Hmm.
it?" Right? Just like any movie, like, "Why should you go and watch, the latest Mission Impossible movie?" "Oh, because, like, the stunts are unbelievable and Tom Cruise is, like, running super fast."
Yeah.
Right? Like, again, like, with the example, Super Alien Gun, like, why should I play Super Alien Gun? Because you get to use the biggest alien guns ever in a video game, right?
Yeah.
Like, really, if you have that passion for your game, it's gonna rub off, right?
Hmm.
And yeah, practice your pitch for sure, but make sure it's in your own words, right? Show us that you're so passionate about this that you don't really even need a deck. The deck is just kind of there to help us along. The deck is just a guide, right? Um, yeah, that I think that's my main tip is like show us how you feel.
And I think that that energy is, it's tangible. It's palpable when you get on a call and someone's like, "Sit down, I got something to show you." It's just like, "All right, amazing, let's go." What is it at tinyBuild that you are most excited for right now in the indie space? I know you guys have some
Oof.
big things cooking. You
Yeah.
got Kingmakers coming down the pipeline, and also just huge congratulations with the early and ongoing success that you and the team have already found with that game. I know it's going to go on to do some pretty amazing numbers and do some crazy things for the industry. So just first off, congratulations there. But in the indie space as a whole, what are you really excited about right now?
It's exciting to see the growth of co-op games in the indie space.
Mhm.
Um, we have some co-op games coming out. Kingmakers has co-op as well.
Mhm.
We're seeing how popular a game like Peak is right now. That's so cool. Um, that's I think it's a really exciting space right now. Um, and uh, if I could plug, maybe some games that are brand new on the Tiny Build roster, we just announced Hosey, which is our latest cozy game, and the numbers are doing the game is going wild on TikTok right now. People love
Amazing.
the kind of ASMR, wholesome vibes of that game. I would check out the trailers for our RPG of Ash and Steel. I would check out Train Fort. I would check out, as we discussed, the latest prototypes for Hello Neighbor 3.
Yeah.
Um, and the demo for Streets of Rogue 2 continues to be updated on Steam. I'm very excited for that game. And yeah, Sand is coming out soon too. These are all really, really cool games that I hope everyone gets a chance to check out.
I love it. All right, Corey. So last thing for you, and I like to ask all of my guests, and you can step away from the tiny build side of it all. Let's maybe talk to the Corey side of it. But I always ask my guests to shine a light on an indie game or an indie developer that they're just absolutely loving
Ooh.
right now. Someone that they want to, shout out from the rooftop. And I personally feel that freaking cool indies is important to pay it forward, and that is why I like to make sure that we get our guests to give a shout out to
Well,
again, a particular project developer, someone that you're just absolutely loving out in the wild for us to highlight.
in addition to all of Tiny Build's amazing developers, we love them all, and all the games that I discussed today. Personally, I have been playing a lot of a game called Haneda Girl by Studio Koba, and I am evangelizing this game to anybody who is willing to listen to me on this. AKA, I just don't even care about that. I'm just like evangelizing it to everyone in our world, in the community, and all gamers in general, because this game is a mix of Katana Zero and Celeste and Hotline Miami, and it's incredibly beautiful, smooth, fast pixel art action. Um, it's hilarious. It's addictive. It's well designed. It has completely hooked me. It's from the devs behind Narita Boy, which is another pixel art hidden gem. It's all in the same universe, and the reviews are great on Steam. I think it has like an 82 on Metacritic. An amazing game. I hope everyone checks it out. But definitely at this point a hidden gem. So big up to Studio Koba and Haneda Girl. Everyone should check that out.
It sounds wicked, by the way. I know what I'm doing later this afternoon.
Did you check it out? Did you just look it up?
I'm going to be checking out.
Okay,
Yeah,
sweet.
I have the first one, the Narrato Boy. I
Yeah,
have that one. But I was actually unaware that they came out with a sequel, so that makes me very excited. Or not sequel, but you know what I mean. Spiritual
it's like
successor,
a spiritual
same
sequel.
same
Yeah, yeah.
realm. Yeah, I love it. Corey, again, thank you very much for jumping on with myself today and walking us through what goes into working with publishers, how to get seen, how to get noticed, and again, everything that's going on in the world of tinyBuild. I appreciate you greatly, and it is official. This is my little fake gavel, but you are a freaking cool indie. So Corey, once again, I just want to say thank you very much. And with that, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. See you on the next one.
Thanks,
Bye
Mike.
now.